for the Paternal Suit. How many of you were here last night for the opening?
And so we have this painting here by who is a Dutch woman artist who was married to a sea captain, Dutch sea captain, and was working out in New Amsterdam and traded pure.
I think to talk about the obsession, you have to talk about my parents' divorce and the missing father. I started drawing naked ladies tied up, which is shown in the little movie that's over there. As a result of that, and I realized in my 20s I was, keeping the mother tied up so she wouldn't leave. I think there was also a shock element in that that father image, father figure, the sort of represented paternal side of society, and I was shocking them with what I did in making this erotic art. So I think that element was always there, and I noticed, even though my stepfather was great and was always there, and I think I was without a father for only probably about a year, actually. So he was always there, and intellectually I owe him an awful lot. But there was still a hole, and I would find myself tearing up at the dumbest films on TV that had to do with fathers and sons. And so when I finally had kids of my own, I traced him down. That was 1998 when that all came about, and I was interested in family history, but he didn't have any. I think I was interested because my sister had traced out my mother's side along with some my stepfather and some other people. There'd been a lot of information gathered on that side of the family, but we knew nothing at all about my father's side of the family. And so, in 2004, when that breakthrough occurred and that New York Times article was found that had 3 of my great-grandparents' names in it, and then within a couple days, Carol Levine started emailing me stuff that she'd discovered, because she's quite a gifted genealogist. It just, it grabbed me sort of by the gut and didn't let go until maybe yesterday, when the show finally opened.
So she confessed, and then she spent about a year in jail and got out. And these 2 items have to do with that. This is a doll she made while she was in prison there. This is
Well, I've always been a narrative painter. There are stories that I tell in every painting probably I've ever made, except they don't necessarily have clear endings. And so I think in a narrative way when I construct an image. I've also written some in the past prior to this. So when my first daughter was 6 months old, I wrote a complete novel. Never published it, but I wrote it out, and it was a wonderful little story that was about her growing up at the age of 6 or something. I looked into the future and I invented that entire narrative. So I've got it in me, that sort of narrative streak anyway. When I started putting this stuff together, all of this genealogy, my imagination just woke all these people up. They were as real to me as most people are. When I paint figures, those people are as real. I spend more time with them than I do with most people on this earth. I'm in a room by myself, animating figures and painting. This project was pretty much the same thing. These people came to life. The more that I worked with them, the more I discovered, the more information I found, the more they came to life. And it didn't matter to me whether they were, good people or bad people, or most genealogists or people doing their family research want somebody to be a wonderful person, and they hide all the bad stuff. I loved finding the bad stuff. That made them more human, more exciting to me. The shaming staff, I think that the purpose was to get the people to pay their church dues. And I can imagine in a church, if you have that being shaken at you, it must have been mortifying, and you could pay up pretty fast. I think the whole time that I was putting the Paternal Suit together, there was a little part of me that was thinking, this, maybe laughing and doing different things. What's going to happen when this object is put on display, and how are people going to respond to it? And since many of these ancestors were Southern, I always envisioned it in Southern venues as I was thinking this. How is this going to be reacted to in the South? I didn't know. I didn't know if people would get horribly angry and insulted that I'm playing loose and wild with this Southern history, or I could imagine some, Confederate veterans, not veterans, sons of veterans, whatever they call them, sons of the Confederacy, getting upset about, what I did with my great-great-grandfather. And in fact, I have a distant cousin who was upset with one of my things that I posted online about him. And he's a tour guide in Savannah, but he was, he has a different vision of that general than I believe is true, but it's his family, and he wants to have this vision of the general as one thing. So I thought, I thought people might get angry. I didn't find anybody angry. I found people genuinely interested. A few people puzzled, but most of the people that came up to me were more sort of excited by the whole project and enthusiastic about it and understood the deeper implications of it and some of the humor behind it.
In the 1830s, after he'd already gone through one wife, she died just after the general here. We'll talk about it a little bit.
Sort of think that it's important in, say, the paintings I do as a realist narrative, figure painter, however you want to call me, to get as many balls up in the air juggled as possible. So they do many things. Those things will sit on a wall in somebody's house maybe for 25 years, and I think they should engage the viewer for that period of time. A lot of art today does just one thing. I think there were thoughts in the modernist era that art should have no content. It should just be this abstract object, or it should just be conceptual and not have any body to it. I think it should do all those things. I think art should encompass all that, and the more balls that are up and juggled, I find it more engaging.
This is my great-great-grandmother's father. This is her, and we have her diary. So this is her father, Daniel Thomas, who pioneered Mississippi in the 1830s. Nice houses, and took care of it. He probably had lots of wives. But he also liked to hunt. He liked the outdoors, and so they developed this hunting pistol, which basically works something like this. You put these antelope horns in your ears and listen through this horn, and then boom,